Hi guys, welcome to a video. This week's video is a bit different to my other videos because this week's video is about mental health. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is first and foremost to raise awareness, and secondly because it's a subject that's very close to my own heart. As a disclaimer, I don't speak on behalf of anybody else who is suffering with their mental health. I can only speak about my own journey and experiences. I am also not a doctor, unless you want me to be, which you don't, because I don't have any medical training. And of course, there is a trigger warning for mental health. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable or upset. So if you feel like you might be either of those things from watching this video, then please feel free to click away and watch Kitten Lady on YouTube, who I recommend very much, because kittens. Statistically speaking, 1 in 2 people will suffer with their mental health. Those statistics are frighteningly high, meaning poor mental health affects almost every other person on the planet. I have discussed my mental health on this channel before, but I've never really discussed it in detail. I just often allude to it with bad jokes because that's just how I cope, basically. I feel like there is a misconception around mental health. I feel like a lot of people don't want to acknowledge mental health and think nothing of it and sweep how they're feeling all under the carpet like it doesn't matter because there's more pressing things going on in the quotation marks real world end quotation marks. Your mental health is equally important as your physical health. And not only is it equally as important, it is intrinsically linked to your physical health. Your mental health affects the way you treat not only yourself, but the people around you. It also affects your ability to function in society. It affects your ability to hold down a job, hold down a relationship, and just generally survive in the quotation marks, real world, end quotation marks. It is all connected. Now, I have had depression and anxiety since I was a teenager. And for over 10 years of suffering with my mental health, I had absolutely no awareness or information on mental health, which is a big reason I'm making this video. There just wasn't any conversation or information out there for me to relate to or for me to look at as a young person. My mother also suffered severely with her mental health, which meant she could barely take care of herself, let alone me. And again, I feel like if she'd had access to information and help, both of our lives could have been a lot different than they were. And it all starts with acknowledging that you are suffering and acknowledging that your mental health is not in the best place. I'm not going to go into the murky details about how depression and anxiety have affected my life. We would be here for 10 hours and ain't nobody got time for that. I've got a lot of cat videos to watch. But something I wanted to share on this channel, which I have never shared before, is that as a teenager, because I had no awareness or help for my mental health, it accumulated in me attempting suicide when I was 19 years old. I went up to the top of a multi-layered car park and I was attempting to throw myself off the top of this multi-storied car park. I was trying to pluck up the courage to just take one more step off of the ledge, and in the end, I just couldn't do it. But despite stepping down off of the ledge, I still continued my life like nothing was wrong and still with very little awareness about my own mental health. And that's what happens when poor mental health is allowed to manifest, it rears its head in ugly ways. Usually it results in either trying to harm yourself or trying to harm other people. And it's usually only at breaking point that people begin to take notice of their own mental health or of other people's mental health. And I think it's important to be aware of the signs early on to prevent people hurting themselves and also others. So last December, I had a breakdown and I was missing almost 1 day a week of work because I couldn't function. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was crying all the time, and I was incredibly lucky to have managers who looked out for me and pointed me in the right direction and encouraged me to go to the doctors and encouraged me to acknowledge that I have a problem, which was perhaps the biggest milestone for me. And I'm hoping that this video has the same effect as my managers at my last job had on me. After acknowledging that I have depression and I have anxiety and they have been with me for as far back as I can remember is a lot. And I'm only just learning about things like self-care and awareness myself. Depression never goes away. I'm never going to wake up and be cured of it, but I can learn to live with it. And there are steps I can take to lessen its impact on its attempt to take my life away from me. And you know, for some people with poor mental health, even just surviving the day can be a really radical act of resistance. And I'm really proud of everybody who is wading through the swamp currently. I just want to reiterate, I'm not a doctor, but things I do to help my own mental health is practicing self-care and awareness. I listen to a lot of ASMR, which is why I make ASMR videos, because I find them really comforting and wanted to give other people something that they could be comforted by. I'm so generous like that. Breathing exercises, exercise in general, having a self-care box full of things which can distract you, things like puzzles, colouring books, so on and so forth. Therapy is a privilege, but it helps me to talk a hell of a lot. We all know I love the sound of my own voice. And just learning to be a bit kinder to myself and love myself a bit more and treat myself like I'm my own best friend. There's just absolutely no need for people to be embarrassed to seek out help or embarrassed to talk about their mental health because they think that their feelings aren't valid or that they're moaning or that there are bigger issues going on in the world, because it's all connected and your voice is valid and it is important. And taking care of yourself is the first step towards taking care of other people and the world that we live in. So I will leave some links in the description which will give you more detail about self-care, about things you can do to manage your mental health and care about yourself more. I hope this video helps people. Don't forget to subscribe for instant positive thinking, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.